I'm gonna tell you something that most people my age don't talk about. Not because it's embarrassing, because it scares them. 3 years ago, February 14th, Valentine's Day, if you can believe that, my heart stopped beating in the middle of a Cracker Barrel parking lot. I was 71 years old. My wife Linda was inside getting us a table. I'd just turned the car off. And then, nothing. 2 minutes. That's what the paramedics told me later. 2 minutes of clinical death. No heartbeat and no breathing. Just a 71-year-old man slumped over a steering wheel in a parking lot in Knoxville, Tennessee. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I saw a white light or talk to God or any of that. Maybe I did. I don't remember. What I do remember is waking up in a hospital bed with tubes in my arms and my wife crying and a doctor telling me I was lucky to be alive. But here's the thing, and this is what this video is really about. I wasn't lucky. I was a ticking time bomb, and I had been building that bomb myself every single day for about 40 years, with the food I ate, the sleep I skipped, the stress I carried around like a backpack full of rocks. So today, I want to tell you what I changed. Not theories, not stuff I read online, the actual specific things I did after I died for 2 minutes and decided I wasn't done yet. Section 1. The wake up nobody wants. 0:45 to 3:30. When you're lying in a hospital bed and a cardiologist is drawing pictures of your arteries on a whiteboard like it's a football play, that changes you. He showed me where the blockage was, left anterior descending artery. They call it the widowmaker, which is a hell of a name when your wife is sitting right there. My cholesterol had been high since my 40s. I knew that. My doctor told me. I nodded. Pham took the statin for about 3 months, didn't like how it made my legs feel, and stopped. Didn't tell the doctor I stopped either, just stopped. I think a lot of people watching this have done something similar. You know you have. It's okay, but it almost killed me. My blood pressure was 178/105 that morning. I'd been walking around with numbers like that for years. Years. Do you know what that does to your blood vessels? It's like running a garden hose at fire hydrant pressure. Sooner or later, something gives. And here's what really got me. The doctor said my cardiac event wasn't sudden. It had been building for decades. Every bacon double cheeseburger. Every night I stayed up until 1 in the morning watching TV because I was too wired to sleep. Every time I said, I'll start exercising Monday, and Monday came and went. It all added up, quietly, until it wasn't quiet anymore. I'm telling you this part because I think it matters. A lot of health videos skip straight to the advice. Take this supplement, do this exercise, and that's fine. But if you don't understand in your bones, like really understand that the way you're living right now is either building you up or breaking you down, the advice won't stick. It didn't stick for me, not until I died in a parking lot. Section 2. The first thing I changed, and it wasn't food, 3:30 to 7. Everyone thinks I'm going to say I changed my diet first. I didn't. The first thing I changed was my sleep, and I know that sounds boring. I know, but listen to me for a second. For about 30 years, I averaged maybe 5 hours a night, sometimes 4. I wore it like a badge. I don't need much sleep, I used to say, like I was some kind of superhero. My buddies at the plant were the same way. We'd brag about it. 4 hours of sleep, up at 4:30, at the job by 5:15, like we were tough. We weren't tough. We were slowly killing ourselves. After the hospital, my cardiologist, Dr. Pham, good man, Vietnamese fellow, very direct, which I appreciated. He said something I'll never forget. He said, "Mr. Hendricks, your heart doesn't repair itself during the day. It repairs itself when you sleep. You've been denying your heart repair time for 30 years. What did you think was going to happen?" That hit me like a truck. I went home and I started going to bed at 9:30. Not 9:30 when I felt like it. 9:30, period. My wife thought I was depressed at first because suddenly I wasn't staying up watching the news, but I wasn't depressed. I was terrified. I was terrified of dying in my sleep because my heart never got a chance to fix itself. Here's what happened in the first month. My blood pressure dropped 11 points on the top number. 11 points just from sleeping. I wasn't exercising yet, hadn't changed my food yet, just sleeping 7 to 8 hours instead of 5. Now, I'll be honest, it wasn't easy at first. I'd lie there staring at the ceiling, my mind racing, thinking about work, about the bills, about whether the weird sound the furnace was making meant I needed to call someone. So Dr. Pham told me something else. He said, stop looking at screens an hour before bed. No phone, no TV, no tablet. I thought that was ridiculous. What am I supposed to do? Just sit there? But Linda bought me one of those little book lights, and I started reading actual paper books before bed. Western novels, mostly. Louis L'Amour. And I'll be damned if I wasn't falling asleep in 20 minutes instead of lying there for an hour and a half. 6 months in, my resting heart rate went from 82 to 68. That's a big deal if you're over 70. Your heart is doing less work to keep you alive. It's under less strain. Every single beat matters more when you're older. And if your heart is beating 82 times a minute instead of 68, that's almost 20,000 extra beats a day. For nothing, just because you wouldn't go to bed. So that's number one. Sleep. Boring? Maybe, but it might be the single most important thing I did. Section 3. What I actually eat now. No gimmicks. 7 o'clock to 12 o'clock. All right, now the food part. And I want to be upfront about something. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm a retired machinist from Tennessee who almost died. What I'm telling you is what worked for me, based on what my doctors told me and what I learned from reading and from trial and error. You should talk to your own doctor. I mean that. Don't just listen to an old man on YouTube. That said, here's what happened with food. Before the heart attack, I ate the way most guys I know eat. Big breakfast, eggs, bacon, sausage, biscuits, and gravy if someone was making it. Lunch was whatever was fast. Dinner was meat and potatoes, or whatever Linda made. Plus I'd snack at night. Chips, crackers with cheese, maybe a bowl of ice cream every night. I wasn't huge. That's the thing people don't understand. I was about 210 at 5'10". Overweight, sure, but I didn't look like someone who was about to have a massive heart attack. I looked like every other guy at church. The first thing the hospital nutritionist told me was something that actually surprised me. She said, "Don't try to change everything at once, and pick one meal and fix that first." So I picked breakfast. I dropped the bacon and sausage, not forever, but as a daily thing. I started eating oatmeal, steel-cut oats, not the instant stuff with the dinosaur eggs or whatever they put in those packets. Plain oats with a handful of blueberries and a little bit of cinnamon. Some mornings I'd have 2 eggs, scrambled, with some spinach thrown in. Now, I hated it at first. I'm not going to lie to you. And I sat there eating that oatmeal the first week, thinking this is prison food. But you know what? After about 3 weeks, my body adjusted, and after about 2 months, I actually started craving it. Your taste buds change, they really do. It just takes longer than most people are willing to wait. Then I tackled dinner, more fish. We started doing salmon twice a week. Linda found a way to make it with lemon and dill that even I liked, and I was a man who said he hated fish for 50 years. Or more vegetables, broccoli, sweet potatoes, green beans, and smaller portions, not tiny, just regular. Not the mountain of food I used to pile on, the big one, and I think this made the most difference. I stopped eating after 7 p.m., full stop, kitchen closed, because what was I eating at 10 p.m.? It was never a salad, it was always junk, chips, cookies, a sandwich with 3 inches of meat on it. Cutting that out alone probably saved me a few hundred calories a day. Here's the results. In about 8 months, I went from 210 to 183 without a diet plan, without counting calories or macros or whatever the young people do, just by eating real food, mostly plants and fish, in normal amounts and not eating at night. My LDL cholesterol, that's the bad one, went from 188 to 112. My triglycerides came down to normal range for the first time in 15 years, and my A1C, which is the blood sugar marker, dropped from 6.1, which is pre-diabetic, to 5.4, normal. I'm not saying this will work for everyone. Bodies are different. But I am saying that the food industry has made eating so complicated that people give up before they start. It's not that complicated. Eat real food, not too much, mostly plants, some good fish, stop eating junk at night. That's it. That's what I did. Section 4. Moving again, slowly, stubborn, and scared. 12 o'clock to 15:30. This part is hard for me to talk about because I used to be strong. I worked with my hands my whole life. I could carry a transmission across a shop floor when I was 40, and then suddenly I'm 71 years old, fresh out of the hospital, and I'm scared to walk to the mailbox because I'm afraid my heart might stop again. That fear, I don't think people talk about it enough. After a cardiac event, you're afraid of your own body. Every little chest twinge, every time your heart feels like it skips, you think this is it. It happened again, and that fear can paralyze you. It paralyzed me for about 6 weeks. I just sat in my recliner. Linda would say, "Let's go for a walk," and I'd say, "Maybe tomorrow." What got me moving was cardiac rehab. The hospital signed me up, and I almost didn't go. I thought it was going to be a bunch of old people shuffling around a gym, and honestly, that's kind of what it was. But those people, those old shuffling people, they'd all been where I was. They'd all had the heart attack, or the bypass, or the stent. And they were still here, moving, breathing, living. I started on a treadmill at 1.5 miles an hour. 1.5. I could have crawled faster, but I was hooked up to a heart monitor and there were nurses watching, and for the first time since February 14th, I felt safe enough to move. Here's what I built up to over about a year, and what I still do now at 74. Walking, 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. Not power walking, not race walking, just walking around the neighborhood or through the park, at the mall when it's raining. I know that sounds like nothing, but for a 74-year-old man with a cardiac history, consistent walking is gold. My cardiologist said walking 30 minutes a day reduces the risk of a second cardiac event by about 30 to 35%. 30% just from walking. Light resistance. I bought a set of those stretchy bands, the physical therapy kind. I do arm exercises, leg exercises, some core stuff. Nothing fancy. I look ridiculous doing it, probably, but my grip strength is back. I can carry the groceries without getting winded, and I can get up from a low chair without grabbing the armrest. If you're over 65, that last one matters more than you think. Balance work. This one I added after I almost fell in the shower about a year ago. Scared the hell out of me. Now I stand on one foot while I brush my teeth. I do heel to toe walking down the hallway. Simple stuff. But falls kill more people over 70 than most diseases. I'd rather look silly practicing balance than end up in a hospital with a broken hip. And here's something nobody told me that I wish someone had. The exercise isn't just for your heart, it's for your head. After about 3 months of regular walking, my mood changed. I was less irritable. I was sleeping even better. I wasn't snapping at Linda over nothing. The anxiety about my heart calmed down. Or 1530 to 1800. I want to talk about the 1530 to 1800. I want to talk about the stuff that doesn't fit neatly into a health tip list, the messy stuff, because health isn't just food and exercise and sleep, it's everything. After I came home from the hospital, I called my brother. We hadn't talked in 4 years. 4 years. Over something so stupid I can barely remember what it was. Something about our mother's estate. Money. It's always money. But lying in that hospital bed, I kept thinking, if I had died in that parking lot, the last thing between me and my brother would have been an argument about a dining room table. I called him. It was awkward. It was really awkward. He didn't know I'd had a heart attack. He cried. I cried. Linda cried. Everybody cried. But we talk now, every Sunday. And I swear my blood pressure is lower on Sundays because of it. I also stopped watching the news at night. I know that sounds unrelated, but it's not. I was going to bed angry every single night. Angry at politicians, angry at the economy, angry at whatever the outrage of the day was. And that anger was sitting in my chest like a hot coal while I tried to sleep. Dr. Pham asked me, "What does watching the news at 11 p.m. do for you? Can you change any of it?" And I couldn't answer him, and because the answer was nothing. It does nothing except raise my cortisol and my blood pressure. I started being more careful about who I spent time with, too. I had a buddy, I won't say his name, but every time we got together, it was negative, complaining about everything. The government, his ex-wife, his knees, the price of gas, and I'd leave feeling drained. After the heart attack, I started saying no, not in a mean way. I just got busy on the days he wanted to get together. And I started spending more time with the guys from cardiac rehab who were focused on living, not complaining. Here's the thing I want you to hear. Stress is not just in your head. It's in your blood. Chronic stress raises your cortisol, which raises your blood sugar, which raises your blood pressure, which damages your arteries. It's a straight line from the stress you carry to the heart attack you have. The medical community has been saying this for years, but we don't listen because stress feels normal. It's not normal. It's poison. Slow poison. Closing. 3 years later, 1800 to 1930. It's been 3 years since I died in that parking lot. I'm 74 now. I weigh 181 pounds. My blood pressure this morning was 128/78. My cholesterol is under control. I walk 3 miles almost every day. I sleep 7.5 hours. I eat food that my 40-year-old self would have laughed at, and I'm still here. I'm not going to pretend it was easy. It wasn't. There were nights I wanted to quit and eat a whole pizza and stay up until midnight. There were days I didn't want to walk. There were moments I thought, what's the point? I'm 70-something. Just let me enjoy whatever time I have left. But here's what I realized, and this is the last thing I'll say. Taking care of yourself is enjoying the time you have left. I can play on the floor with my grandkids now. Oh, I can take Linda to dinner without getting winded walking across the parking lot. I can bend down and tie my own shoes. I can wake up in the morning and not be afraid. That's not deprivation. That's freedom. If you're watching this and you're in your 60s or 70s or even 80s and you think it's too late, it's not. I was clinically dead 3 years ago. Dead. And I changed everything. Not because I'm special. Because I was scared enough and stubborn enough and loved enough by the people around me to try. You can try too. Start with sleep. Just start there. Go to bed an hour earlier tonight. See what happens. You don't have to die in a parking lot to start living differently. If this story meant something to you, I'd appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. Not for me, for the next person who needs to hear this. And if you've got your own story, your own wake-up call, put it in the comments. I read them, all of them. Take care of yourselves.